Welcome. My name is Brittany Blaine Roth and I'm with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game Division of Sportfish. Today we're at the William Jack Hernandez Sportfish Hatchery in Anchorage, Alaska, located on Ship Creek. And today we're going to learn about the salmon life cycle and spawn some coho salmon. Coho salmon, also known as silver salmon, are one of 5 species of Pacific salmon that are native to Alaska. Coho salmon such as this one returned to Ship Creek. It made its way from the Pacific Ocean through Cook Inlet waters and through the sport fishery on the lower part of Ship Creek all the way back here to the hatchery. As I mentioned, it's one of 5 species of Pacific salmon, and I'd like to go over those with you today. There are 5 species of Pacific salmon native to Alaska. I want to go over those with you today. Our first one rhymes with thumb. That would be a chum salmon. Chum salmon are also known as dog salmon. Our second species is our sockeye salmon. I like to think of poke you in the eye or sock you in the eye for sockeye. Those are also the red salmon. Our biggest finger is also our biggest salmon, and that is our king salmon, also known as Chinook salmon. As you can see, I've got some silver here on my finger, so like I showed you earlier, a silver salmon, also known as a coho salmon, is another species. Chinook and coho are both fish that we raise right here at the William Jack Hernandez Sportfish Hatchery. And our final species is a pink salmon, so think your pinky finger. Pink salmon are also known as humpies. They get a big hump when the males are in their spawning colors. Now that we've gone over the 5 Pacific salmon species, I'd like to go over the salmon life cycle with you. So salmon, after they return to the creek, will dig a redd. A redd is spelled R-E-D-D, and what that is a nest, as you can see here. And what happens is the female will dig this redd, and she'll actually deposit her eggs at the same time that a male salmon is swimming up alongside her and releases his milk to fertilize the egg. Then the eggs are covered with gravel and they remain there in complete darkness as they start to develop. As they start to develop, we'll start to see eyes show up. It's not just eyes though, the whole body will start to develop in these fish and they'll grow. And eventually what will happen is they'll hatch. When they hatch, they'll actually become what we call alevin. Now at this point they won't actually emerge from the gravel. They'll stay in the gravel for a little while as they continue to develop. This yolk sac provides them with all the nutrients they need for food until they get bigger. And as they get bigger, they become what we call a fry. Fry will emerge from the gravel, they'll swim around in search of food and continue to grow and develop. As they grow and develop in the fresh water, they'll become what we call smolt. And once they become a smolt, they'll actually begin their migration out to the ocean. And once they're in the ocean, coho salmon will spend approximately 18 months and feed and develop into an adult salmon and return their migration back to their natal spawning grounds. All salmon make their spawning migration from the ocean into the fresh waters of Alaska. As they go through this migration, their body shape may change, such as this male coho salmon that has a kype now, which is that its nose gets this big hook in it. In some cases they get a big hump on their back. They also color change. So in this case, this was a bright, beautiful silver salmon, and now it's turned these red colors as part of the spawning process. So today we're at the William Jack Hernandez Sportfish Hatchery, and what I'd like to show you is how we can spawn coho salmon in a controlled environment. We're going to demonstrate the spawning process. So first, Donnie and I are going to show you the different sexes of fish for these coho salmon. So, does anybody know who has the male and who has the female? Well, if you aren't sure, one way you can tell is Donnie has the male, and it has a kype, which is a hook in its nose, you can see. It also has a narrow body. I'm actually holding the female, and you can see her nose doesn't have that hook in it, that kype. And she's also got a really round belly because she's full of eggs. So that's how you can tell the difference between the sexes of these 2 fish. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and spawn these fish. I'm going to hand this female over to Donnie. And I've got a clean, dry container here that we're going to put the eggs into. What I've got here is I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to slice into her vent. So in the wild, she would actually, from this vent, this is where she would release her eggs. See, a lot of eggs can come out of here. Coho salmon have thousands of eggs. It can be anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 eggs, depending on the size of the female. Okay. So we got most of them. And then next we need our male. And our male provides the milt. That's spelled M-I-L-T. And the milt fertilizes the eggs. Now, do you think these eggs are fertilized right now? Because they're actually not. What we have to do is add some water to the container. Okay, thank you, Donnie. So, as Donnie adds water to the container, these eggs are going to open up as fast as you can blink your eye. So if you blink your eye real fast, these eggs are opening up, and then that milk can fertilize them. So now they're fertilized. And actually what that means is today is their birthday. So if you'd like, you can sing them happy birthday. So now we've completed the process. Now again, this is in a nice controlled environment. We would take these back to the hatchery, or in this case, we're going to take them back to a tank. And some of these eggs will actually go to tanks in classrooms where schools are permitted to raise salmon in their classroom to learn about the life cycle as it develops. Thanks for joining us today to learn about the salmon life cycle and welcoming the next generation of coho salmon. Have a great day.